All content is publicly sourced and used under the USA Fair Use and UK Fair Dealing Guidelines. The things I say are strictly my opinion. Hello again, you guys. It's the Busy Bee here. I hope you all have had a great Wednesday. I just got off work myself. Been a long day, but you know what? That's work. That's life. Let's get into that royal tea. Alright, so as I said in my last video, I wanted to use the disclaimer shot to talk about a little history. This is King George III, reigned for 60 years, 1760 to 1820. The last king of America. He lost America during the Revolutionary War. First king to study science, commissioned the Gold State coach still used by the royal family, and purchased Buckingham Palace for his wife, Queen Charlotte. This is a coronation portrait done of him by Allan Ramsay in 1762. And that's his royal coat of arms. Let me show you the Gold State coach real quick, then I'll talk about the coat of arms. Here, that's it. This is Her Majesty riding it the day of her coronation in the 1950s. Another shot of it real quick. And there you go. Alright, so while I'm bringing this back up, I wanted to say thank you again for all the comments. You know, I really appreciate you guys watching. It means a whole lot to me. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for the constructive criticism. I am taking it to heart. I'm new at this, and thank you for being patient. But look at this coat of arms, you guys. I wanted to show this to you. You see on this, there's a head of armor, and then a crown on top, but the crown is certainly not the most prominent thing on there. So then I thought, Meghan's got her own coat of arms, correct? And there it is. Look at this. That crown is the most prominent thing on there. Right dead in the middle. Isn't it, you guys? Yes. This is the disclaimer card from my last video. That Edward VII's coat of arms. Crown's not the most prominent thing. This is the current Queen's coat of arms. Again, crown not the most prominent thing. You would think if she's going to put the crown as the most prominent thing on her coat of arms, look at that, she wouldn't wear ill-fitting clothes. I mean, you wouldn't see Her Majesty wear something ill-fitting like that in public, would you? Or Princess Anne? Certainly not. There she is schmoozing with Beyonce. Look at the filler in Beyonce's face. My, my, my. Yeah, there we are again. The Duchess of Deceit. Well, well, well. But I just wanted to say one thing about Meghan's coat of arms. If I was going to design a coat of arms for Meghan, let me tell you guys what it would look like. The prominent thing in the middle wouldn't be a shield with a giant crown sitting on top. It would be, in the middle, the most prominent thing would be the spouse's grandmother's jewelry piled up on the floor in a big pile. On top would be sitting the grandmother's crown, the spouse's grandmother's crown, and on top of it would be a poisonous asp, snake, the same one that Cleopatra used to kill herself, sitting on top of that crown, and it would be looking out at you with that slit in its dead cold eyes and that forked tongue hissing out of its mouth. It would be looking out at you cold, daring you just to come close to it and touch one of those jewels or try to put your hand near that crown. Come on, buddy, I dare you. That would be Meghan's coat of arms if I designed it. But alright, let's dive into the tea. Now, before I start talking about the troubled twosome, I want to mention another artist formerly known as Prince, and that's this guy. And from what I understand on YouTube, we can't say his name, so I'll just call him Fergie's ex. And this article I found on Laney Gossip, it's about, and again, all my articles I talk about, the link to them will be in the description below if you want to take a look. Okay, so this is about a Netflix documentary called Filthy Rich coming out about Fergie's ex and his buddy J.E., the dead pedo. This documentary alleges that Fergie's ex, a former dead pedo's employee, an IT person on Little St. James Island, claims he saw Queen Elizabeth's son touching a topless woman at the island's pool. The dead pedo hung out with a lot of powerful and well-known figures, both politically and financially, and I mean British royalty. It was probably around 2004, another person alleges, I saw Fergie's ex. He was at the pool. He was with, at that time, an unknown girl to me. She was young. She didn't have any top on. They were engaged in foreplay. He was grabbing her and grinding against her. Prince Pedo wouldn't do that, would he? I wonder. The girl was Virginia Roberts Gurfey, who was, I'm sorry, I probably said that wrong, who was pictured with Fergie's ex with his arm around her and alleges that she was trafficked to the Queen's second son by his friend, the dead pedo. So, if you guys want to check out that documentary, it's on Netflix. That's all I want to say about Fergie's ex. I want to talk about this article. Again, of course, the hapless half-wits and the mooching narcissists are in the news. Of course, it must be a day that ends in Y, you guys. So, this article was in Forbes, and it's talking about, let us spare a thought for Prince Harry as he struggles for gainful employment in this America. Well, poor Harry. Wow. A lot of us working stiffs wish we had it as good as him, and he doesn't have a job. Alright. So, let me run through this with you guys. As a place to live and work, Los Angeles was supposed to be a soft landing for the hapless half-wit. In housing, anyway, it seems to have been that. Absolutely, because he's living in a posh little place owned by Tyler Perry. But Prince H and Moochin' Meg have come in hard on this landing. In truth, Los Angeles is not an easy town, even without the ambient chaos of the patchwork of the thing that's going around and the lockdown associated with it are the protests. As generations of wannabe actors and auteurs who have come to seek fortune can attest. Not that Harry is going to find himself slinging burgers. Certainly not. Because let's be honest, you guys, if Harry didn't have the titles and the royal family behind him, he doesn't have the skills to even flip burgers. He would need to go to training for that. He wouldn't have the skills, oh my. He probably couldn't even operate a cash register, you guys. Probably doesn't even know how to operate a calculator. But anyway, where were we? His will be a softer bad go than that. Los Angeles is and will continue to be hard ground for several reasons for the recently retired Captain Wells. It's about his career arc to date versus what is actually possible for him now. At the moment, what's possible for him now on his chosen field of play, that of philanthropic good, works in a kind of starry, if slightly misty, heaven has been heavenly reduced by the pandemic. He founded the Invictus Games, and that brought him much fulfillment. Among his charities as a working royal, the Invictus Games stood out as something that the athletic prince could be seen as doing into his dotage, his old age. Baseball, but nowadays, baseball, football, sports league the world over, struggle to resuscitate their large events in the pandemic's enduring and very rough wake. The Invictus Games have also no home and no audience until the stadia of the world are cleared for action with fans in attendance. Harry has a brief of undeniably sterling philanthropic credits and has put in the hard work as one of Britain's former most beloved royals. Harry is an instant comrade, a quality that, prior to his marriage anyway, pretty much completely endeared him to the British public. The problem that brings for him in LA is that neither philanthropy of the sort that the British royal family practices, nor his distinctive royal and military pedigrees are necessarily the designated fuel for the kind or the size of operation that he's got going, namely his thoroughly civilian, non-military, and deeply non-royal wife, their son, and their massive domestic needs, chief among them the need for privacy and security. Harry and the royal cohort from which he springs chugs along on the old-school well oil of a 1,000-year-old monarchy with an inbuilt job description and purview, but L.A. runs on schmooze. L.A. is also Mooch and Meg's old hometown. Moderately successful small-screen actress. She will have to spin less hard to find a more willing web of fulfillment. She may stand a chance of being a good or even a very good thing, but Harry, largely by his own hand or at his own impulse, has been fully stripped of his organic network of support with his exit from royal duty. Royal duty was, in fact, also the only actual job he has ever held outside of the British Armed Forces. And let's be honest, you guys, he wasn't really a soldier. They never put him on the front lines. Come on, they never put Prince Harry in harm's way. Never. None of this is to suggest that Harry is finding day-to-day life in LA difficult. And it goes on to say, Oprah has sunk the hook in for first dibs on the huge ratings to be harvested in a talk show heart-to-heart with the couple. No less entertainment mogul than Oprah Winfrey, her close man with the land, Tyler Perry, have ridden into the rescue with his 17-acre Beverly Hills estate. The unending security needs of the couple will dictate some, if not all, of what we can call their quotidian movement. It's not as if they can, after all this water under the bridge, call the whole American thing off and repeat back to Burke Hall, Charles's house. Harry, for his part, has rarely been seen out of the house since his move from Vancouver. Yeah, I completely agree with this, you guys. Harry's not going to be able to tuck his tail between his legs and go back to the UK and say, oops, I made a mistake. He's in it for the long haul now with Mooch and Meg. He's got to stick it out. No matter what happens, he can't go back now and admit defeat. That would just be terrible for him, wouldn't it? He's in quite a predicament, and I wish I could say I felt sorry for him, but I certainly don't, because he got himself into this. He must be really whooped on whatever she's got, because she's got something on him, and he's smitten. Even taking into account the inbuilt restrictions of the current working day in America, Harry's performance seems to date, meaning since his arrival in Canada last year, as he began to build his ungainly exit from Britain in isolation, has been a bit wane. He simply has not accomplished much. Duh. He hunkered down in Canada, and he was forging his exit as he hunkered down now in Beverly Hills. Passionate efforts have been put toward explaining himself and his spouse and their actions. His occupation these days is to explain himself. Explaining oneself is hardly a career advancement strategy, much less a money-making enterprise. It's not at all clear why Harry feels the need to spend his time doing this. His extremely expensive ongoing lawsuit with the Mail on Sunday will not bring much career opportunity in LA either. It's a door-closing move back home rather than an engaging opening play in the new town. There's endless Lifetime made-for-TV movies on the Royals currently in production. Other than generating plot twists for these scriptwriters with soap opera shenanigans, he and his spouse have definitely been involved in the more or less commissioned, as told to book, Finding Freedom, Harry and Meghan, the making of a modern royal family. Do you see that? They're using that word royal again that they're not supposed to use. Megxit rules. There they go breaking it, throwing it in the Queen's face, defying her again. Written by Meghan's mouthpiece, Omid Scobie, and former television producer Carolyn Durand, the book is as pure an example of marketing one's narrative as there is. It's meant to be an exercise in setting the record straight, meaning again, as distinct from the already minutely reported stories in the press on some of the more controversial aspects of the recent Megxit phase of the young couple's life. Most prominently in the title is that crazy bonfire accelerant word royal. Unfortunately for the narrators of this as told to, the word remains a red flag for the British press, the British public, and not least again, the actual royal figures in charge of the working royal family. Prince Harry and mooching Meg must know the effect of the word by now. Yeah, they do. Blatantly put, as the book drops, look for another explosion in Britain. The magnitude are greater than that caused by the January Instagram drop of H&M saying they were leaving. The British press will bay in pain and outrage, faux or not, because since it is largely their printed record of Megxit that's supposedly being challenged or corrected in the book. The courtiers for the Queen on lockdown at Windsor will be metaphorically strapping on the Kevlar and stacking sandbags in the windows of Kensington and Buckingham Palaces for the book drop. London will be on a war footing come August. In Britain, the title, if not the entire book, will be read as one of defiance. No matter what you decree our status to be, we are royal. Registered in the title's modifying adjective, modern, is the Corley subtext, and you royals left back in the fussy old UK are just a bunch of old sticks in the mud. This will be Harry and Moochin Meg's attempt to codify their narrative by putting it between hard covers. HarperCollins is a subsidiary of Rupert Murdoch's News Corp, whose London tabloid The Sun is one of the mass circulation London tabs that Prince Harry and Meghan have chose to boycott. In effect, the young, yet-to-be employed prince is launching yet another salvo across the pond at his family. He won't be asking his grandmother or his father's permission. How that will turn out remains to be seen, but the bottom line, lobbing missiles at the old home place ain't a real job. No, sir. Whoever wrote this, it certainly is not. Harry is not qualified for a real job. Like I said earlier, he couldn't flip burgers. He would need training on that. All he knows how to do is get suckered by a leeching, mooching narcissist and fall into her trap. Let me share a couple of interesting tweets I saw. It is reported by the Times that a member of the senior royal family called MM the degree wife. Why, you may ask? Well, in the UK, it takes 3 years to achieve a university degree. The unnamed royal believes the marriage to Harry will only last 3 years. Well, that leaves 1 more year. They say you can't make a silk purse out of a pig's ear. The Harkles. Look at this. There we go. Look at that picture on the right is a pig walking from behind, and the one on the left obviously is Meghan, right? And here we go. Good morning to the Cambridges, and the Cambridges only. And the one at the bottom. Cops called on Meghan and Harry for explosive fight. Well, not sure if it's true, but I think security has heard them. Has can't be too happy at Meg and Jessica going after Kate and Tatler. Maybe he's catching on to his evil wife.